Okay, my name is Dr. Fadhlan Hafizhelmi Kamaru Zaman, the head of Center for Computer Engineering Studies, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, UiTM Shah Alam. And I will be your moderator for our Dr. Hajah Juliana Johari to deliver her opening speech. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we come, but with an echo.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to try again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning.
To interrupt, actually, you are connected to two devices. One is your laptop, another one is your laptop. So maybe one of it, turn it off.
Yes. I already switch off.
Is
Is it okay right now?
Still echoing.
Still okay, yeah? Alright, let me try again. But I think should be fine, isn't it? I just thought what you think.
Can you hear me now?
Better?
You see, perhaps can mute Dr. Yussoff.
Can
I just proceed?
Yes, Dr. Ju, you may proceed. A bit of echo at the background.
Yeah, I only use my handphone actually. But okay, I will just proceed. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome all participants to the first webinar series organized by the Cisco-UiTM IOT Centre, where we'll be listening to our own Associate Professor, Engineer Dr. Yusnani Muhammad Yussoff, who has more than 10 years in involvement in Cisco Academy, followed by Mr. Muhammad Ameer, Yuslan Razmi, who is currently network engineer with the multinational company. Can you hear? Alright. Let me briefly introduce Cisco-UiTM IOT Centre. Cisco-UiTM IOT Centre is a program under the Ministry of Higher Education Mohd for Industry and University 4IR Competence Centre program, which was started in 2019 with a total amount of 400,000 secured under the leadership of Associate Professor Engineer Dr. Zainal Abidin. It is the expansion of FAE Cisco Academy, which has been with us for almost 20 years. Established in 2001, Cisco Academy in the Faculty of Electrical Engineering was the first Cisco regional academy in Malaysia. Since then, the academy has trained over 300 instructors and more than 2,000 students in networking. The Cisco Network Academy program is a comprehensive e-learning program established by Cisco Systems. This hands-on approach encourages development of advanced and practical networking skills in a range of courses in students studying in schools, colleges, universities, and individuals seeking professional development. The Cisco Academy programs such as Cisco Certified and Network Associate CCNA, Cybersecurity, Operations and Introduction on IoT have been incorporated into our undergraduate courses. And Cisco Certified Network Professional CCNP program has been added to some of the master's courses. FKE Cisco Academy has been recognized by Cisco Systems as Instructor Training Center to train CCNA Security and Information Technology Essential Instructors. On top of that, it is also being accredited as an Academy Support Center and that monitors and assists more than 100 academics in Malaysia and Asia Pacific region, which consists of public universities, private higher learning educations.
Okay, I'm sorry for the technical problem that we are facing right now. Maybe Nadine has her device disconnected from the session.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, something problem. Okay, so the establishment of the Cisco-UiTM IOT Centre will enhance the function of Cisco Academy, where it will be focusing on reaching the broad range of communities as well as venturing into research in the area of Industrial Revolution 4.0. I hope that this webinar will be able to inspire all of you to embark into the professional certifications in line with the current industrial needs. And I would like to thank the webinar committee from the Centre for Computer Engineering Studies and Cisco-UiTM IOT Centre. To the participant, thanks again for joining us today and hope to see you again next time. And I am sorry for the technical problems again. Without further ado, I would like to pass the mic back to our webinar moderator, Engineer Dr. Fadhlan, to proceed with the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Juliana, for her welcoming remarks. So now I'm pleased to introduce our first speaker, Associate Professor Insinyur Dr. Yusnani Muhammad Yussoff. A bit about her biography. Okay, Associate Professor Insinyur Dr. Yusnani Muhammad Yussoff is a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, UiTM, since year 2000. She received her bachelor degree from University Science Malaysia and her master and PhD from UiTM. Her research interest expands to computer security related to embedded devices such as in IoT applications. With more than 20 years of teaching experience and more than 10 years involvement in Cisco Academy, she is now our Head of Talent Development at Cisco-UiTM IOT Centre. Today, she will be sharing guidance on how to build a career through Cisco certification, covering the industry demands, Cisco Academy courses, and certification. For audience, you may write your questions at the chat box. And for those who are following this webinar through YouTube channel, you can put in the comments, okay, your questions, and we will select 5 questions to be discussed at the end of the program. So to kickstart our webinar, please welcome Associate Professor Insinyur Dr. Yusnani Muhammad Yussoff. Please welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Fadhlan, for the brief introduction about me. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all who joined this session. Thank you again for your time to join our first webinar session on building a career with Cisco certification. So I hope you are all blessed by Allah and may He reward us with new knowledge from this session. Next, please. Okay. In this session, basically, this sharing session basically will guide you on how to build your career through Cisco certification. So I'm going to divide this presentation into 3 sections, where the first section highlight the importance of industry-related certification. I can see few names from the younger generations, so the other one who needs to have this industry-related certification. Then I will zoom in into how Cisco Academy benefits the students, the details about Cisco experience. Job interview today is not like what I experienced before, which is 20 years ago. So don't calculate my age now. Today employers want to see your skills. Besides your knowledge or your theory, they also need to know your skill. So they will give you problems and see how you solve that problems using your creativity and skill. If you are from networking background, for example, you may need to perform networking troubleshooting, configure router and switches, and many more. So how do you get all those skills? So basically, it is mostly from industry-based certification program. So that is why the same report by Adobe, where skill-based certifications are the key to employment for the next generation. Okay, next, please. Okay. demand in the computing area or digital area in the year 2020 and years to come. So next slide, please. Next. Okay, thank you. Okay. This article is by Microsoft and it's available online. It is a very interesting article presenting data on the effect of COVID-19 to the global employment. The title is The Great Lockdown Will Accelerate Digitization. So around the world, 2020 has emerged as one of the most challenging years in many of our lifetime. In 6 months, now it's already 7 months, the world has endured multiple challenges, including a pandemic that has spurred a global economic crisis. So however, in electronics engineering, we study that electricity only available or only flow when there are positive and negative charges. So the same thing goes here. The digital job capacity is projected to significantly increase from 41 million in 2020 to 190 million with 149 million new jobs in 2025. And this new job is basically on the digital job capacity. And what more interesting is that all this job requires computer and networking as one of the fundamental skills. So how do we get ourselves prepared? Or how do we get ourselves fit to the market demand? How do we equip ourselves with appropriate skills? And what are certification providers do we need? Do we have in this particular area? Next, please. Okay. This slide shows top 5 paying IT networking certificate for 2019. So there are Cisco, you can see Cisco, 3 Cisco basically. We have CCIE, we have CC2, CCIE and also CCMP. There are also AWS, Juniper and also F5. There are also other certification providers basically outside there, such as CompTIA, Microsoft, and many more, I believe. So you might ask, why do we have many certification providers? So the first reason is industry driven. The different technology used in the industries create different certification basically. So depending on your interest and suitability, you can go or you can select any certification to equip yourself for industry skills and also for your lifelong learning. Next slide, I am going to focus on the Cisco career path and also on how Cisco Academy benefits students. So basically, the following slide will be on the second part of my sharing session. Next, please. Okay, thank you. Sorry, next, before this slide, please. Okay, thank you very much. In this slide, basically, if you look at it, the title is How Cisco Networking Academy Benefits Students. So now from this slide onward, I'm going to focus on the Cisco certifications and also on the Cisco Academy itself. Okay, you can clearly see in the middle, there is the goal for Cisco Networking Academy. So what is the goal? The goal of Cisco Networking Academy is to provide learning opportunities that lead to promising and also long-term career options. So 2 important items here, which are learning opportunities and also long-term career options. So Cisco Networking Academy basically offers at least 5 benefits to the students, where the students who join this academy can get the benefits. The first one is the develop highly marketable in-demand skill, which is the top on your left top. Okay. So in this benefit basically, or this program basically, students prepare to join a booming job market with short time to employability and guaranteed career longevity. The next one, or the second benefit, is that it creates their own learning pathway. We believe that every student have their own interests. What I like might be very much different from what you like, and so on. So with Cisco Academy, you can create your own learning pathway. So students follow their own learning pathway by choosing the most appropriate courses for the type and level of learning they desire. Okay. So the third one basically is on learn through practical and also real world experience. So this is very, very important, because again, my second slide shows that you need to have skills. You need to prepare your skill with the industry demand. So how do you get this, and how do Cisco Networking Academy benefits? So students basically receive practical real-world learning experience that will give you a head start when entering the workforce. So basically here, when you join the Networking Academy, you will be exposed to the real industry devices. You will also be exposed to the real industry-related problems. And also, you can use the simulation tools to enhance your skills. Because skill is something that you only get if you do it repeatedly. It doesn't mean that when you learn one time, you already get the skill. No, theory maybe, but skills, you need to do it. You need to practice it. So through Cisco Networking Academy, you can use the simulation tools such as Packet Tracer and many more, experience yourself and to sharpen your skills in the networking area and other computing or digital related areas such as programming, IoT, and many. So beside that, this is one of the interesting things where students who join the Networking Academy basically earn discounted certification exams. So students become directly connected with the certification opportunities following the completion of a career-ready courses, and can earn discounted examination fees when they pursue their certifications. So I will share with you at the end of the slide later on how you can get the discounted price. Okay, finally, Cisco Networking also give you priority access to tomorrow's job scope. A priority access to job opportunities with Cisco partner organization through the Talent Bridge program. So I'm going to share with you later on what is Talent Bridge program. Next, please. I hope you have some ideas now what Cisco Networking Academy and how this Cisco Networking Academy benefits you. Okay. Before I go into more detail, let's look into the Cisco Networking Academy portfolio. Okay. On the green color on your left side, this is Explore with the name Explore. The Explore courses basically are provided to introduce learners to the exciting opportunities available in technology. So most of these courses are available as free, self-paced options available on the netacad.com website. So academies also can provide these courses directly to the students. So those courses are Get Connected, Introduction to Packet Tracer. These are all free courses. Okay, NDG Linux Unmatched, Cybersecurity Essential, Introduction to Cybersecurity, Introduction to IoT, Networking Essentials, and also Entrepreneurship. Okay, this is at the green color, the Explore part. Okay. Next is on the career. The primary focus that I would like to highlight again of academy is to help students prepare for career. Those the majority of the portfolio, if you can see now, is aligned to career. Okay. Look at the blue color, dark blue color. The top one is digital essential courses. These are the courses that are critical to help students breath independent of the specialization they would like to pursue. Okay. Networking flagship. Networking is basically the flagship of the program. So this offering prepares students to sit for the CCNA certification exam and also prepare for a career as a networking professional. So you can see three in the blue color, which are networking, programmable, and also cyber security. So programmable infrastructure is a new track and prepares students to become network automation professionals. These courses basically will prepare students for the forthcoming DevNet Associate certification. The third track you can see in the blue color under the career, which is on your right side. Your most right side is the cyber security. In the previous slide, we can see that cyber security is one of the highest demand in the 2025. With the demand in technology currently, the demand of using networking, the demand of being connected anywhere, everywhere, anytime, cybersecurity issues also increase. So that is the reason why the increase in the cybersecurity demand in the future. So Cisco Networking Academy offers the third track, which is cybersecurity, and prepares students to build secure networks, monitor the security of networks when necessary, defend the network from attacks. So students are prepared for the CCNA security and also for the CCNA CyberOps certification exam. So in the CyberOps certification exam, basically, students were prepared to the latest cybersecurity demands such as CEng technology, SOC, and so on. Okay. So beyond the courses, a critical pair of learning experience is the opportunity Cisco Academy provides for practice. Again, skill is number one in the future. So these opportunities include the world-renowned packet tracer network simulation tools. You can see, and in the blue color, we have packet tracer, gaming exercises with courses. This will definitely interact you to go through this gaming. Prototyping lab, virtual lab that will prepare you with the real hands-on skill. Assessment and also physical equipment lab. So basically, these are the skills that the industry needs from you when you want to join them. And again, bear in mind that these courses or this academy program basically prepare the students with the global market because these certifications are accepted throughout the world by most of the countries in the world. Okay, next. Next, please. Okay. So this is the one that I mentioned before, which is the course learning and the career pathways. So you can use the link, go to the link and you can see 5 bullets over there underneath of the Cisco's learning and career pathway, and you can click each of the bullet and you can find the latest info and details about each career pathway. So we have here IT pathway, networking pathway, programmable infrastructure, cybersecurity, and also business. Okay, so next slide, I would like to share on the Talent Bridge program that will help you guys to get the job. So Talent Bridge Career Program. Okay, we can see 6 bullets here. The first one is student career resources, virtual job connections, professional development, matching engine, and 2 more. Okay, Cisco Networking Academy Talent Bridge is basically a comprehensive employment program that further prepares students with resume and also interviewing skills and connect them. This is the most important thing. Connect them to employers with the matching engine. So Cisco used their matching engine to connect the students with the right certification with the industry. So Cisco do this by providing student career resources that include live on-demand webinar, access to employment opportunities, and online course to help students prepare for entering the workforce. So Cisco also provide virtual job connections, which are regional events that help specific employers to engage with NetaCat students for job opportunities. Next is through professional developments that includes content for NetaCat students to prepare for careers and also informations about their pathway and also their education requirement. Then the machine engine will basically is an online tool that allows Cisco and channel partners to post job and internship for NetaCat students around the world. So the Cisco team basically actively works with recruiters from these employment partners to identify entry-level job opportunities. Because if you Google or you search the job market, basically most of the job requirements, they require you to have at least an experience. So by going through this Talent Bridge Career Program, you can identify the entry-level job opportunity. Cisco basically has helped over 8,000 CCNA students connect to jobs in the last year and have helped many employment partners basically to find the right candidate with the right skills. So please use these opportunities or skills or facilities that Cisco provides. Okay, next please. Okay, so this is the third part of the presentation where I'm going to share with you all on how we embed the Cisco program into our curriculum and also the Cisco Academy UiTM at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. Okay, as I mentioned in the second slide, go back. Having an industry-based certification will definitely increase your chance of being employed. So in this slide, I'm going to share with you all how FKE UiTM embed Cisco courses into our degree and also into our master program. So in lower semester, usually for degree students, we have 8 semesters. So for lower semester, from semester 1 to semester 4, The program basically focus on the fundamental courses, ensure strong fundamental knowledge. This is very important. You want to prepare our students for the highly market, right? So in higher semester students, they have or we give them elective subjects that they need to take. So these elective subjects are basically based on their choice of majoring. We have computer, we have power, we have electronics, we have control, we have signal and system and human. Okay, those who choose computer engineering basically, they will go through these three courses, which are ITM, which is Introduction to Network, SRWE, Switching, Routing and Wireless Essential, and also Cisco Cyber Ops in the semester 8. So basically, in the higher semester, 5, 6, 7, and 8, students will be exposed to the industry-related skills or knowledge. So at the end of their study, the student will graduate with 3 Cisco course completion certificate. This is just completion certificate, and they can also sit for the exam with the discounted price. So when they join the academy, basically once they fulfill all the chapter exam, practical skills exam, final exam, so when they pass the academy program, they can go for the real or certification or professional certification exam with the at the discounted price. So apart from degree program, the Cisco program also is embedded into our master program, which is Master in Telecommunications and Information Engineering, or Master TIE. So the students will be taking CCNP switch and also CCNP route, and with this, they will be exposed to real industry technologies that utilize route and also switching. So here we can see how we embed the Cisco Academy courses into our degree program to ensure and to prepare our students with the latest industry demands. This will indirectly reduce the gap between the industry and also the university, because we believe that we cannot fulfill all the industry's requirements. We still need to make sure that our students graduate with a very strong fundamental. So in order to ensure they get the industry-related education or knowledge, we embed these courses into the elective subjects. So we hope by doing this, we can prepare our students with the latest industry demand. Okay. So next slide, basically, I'm going to share with you on how to get certification. Okay. So it's very simple, basically. So once you have go through the Cisco Academy program, you have went through all the modules, a very interactive modules available online in the Cisco Net Arcade, where you have all the online quizzes, you have interactive notes, you can test your knowledge, you can test your skills using your packet tracer. Then once you have identified what your interest is, and you have seats for you have enough training and so on, you identify what are the exams that you want to take. Okay. We have CCNA, we have CCNP, we have Cyber Ops, and few more. Okay, so you identify the exam name and also the exam number. Then you must go for or attend or sit for training, online training, And there's also available practice exam online to get you prepared. So you have to do this training and practice exam before you sit for the exam. This is a must. Okay. Once you're ready, you can register for the exam. You can go to Pearson View. You can see links provided in the slide. We have training, certification, exam, and current list, where list of training, certification, and exams. And also we have training, certification, online exam proctoring, where you can sit for the exam, and also the Pearson View website. So with the latest pandemic issues, Cisco basically offered two methods for exam. This is, I get it from the Cisco website, where you can either sit for online exam at your own place, or you can also register with Pearson View. And in both methods, you must comply to all the safety and also the security rules set in order for you to sit for the exam. So I provide all the links available here in the slide, and you can basically try the link and see what are the exam certifications available, what are the certification name and also number, and where you can sit for the exam if you want to go to the Pearson View place. Okay. Finally, let's look at the price for the exam. Next, please. Okay, this is one of the most important part, which is the cost for each certification. So you can use the link given or provided in this website or in my slide to view the full Cisco certification courses. So basically the price range from USD 125 to the maximum of USD 1,600. This is very much depend on the types of certification that you seek. So you have from the cheapest 125 to the highest one, which is 1,600 USD. So for Cisco Academy students, basically you can claim vouchers from the academy and you can sit at the discounted price. So kindly contact your instructors to get your vouchers, but you can only get the vouchers once you have completed all the online training provided. You have sit for the chapter exam, or the practical training, or practical skill exam, and also for the final exam. And you have answered all the questions provided or available in the Cisco NetaCat website. Okay, so before I conclude, slide please. So before I end my presentation, I would like to conclude here that industry-based certification basically prepares students in terms of skills and theory for globally demand and also challenging market. Outside there are a lot of various or multiple choice of professional certificate available that you can choose from. You can also choose from Cisco Academy, or you can also choose from other certification providers such as AWS for cloud services, Microsoft, CompTIA, Juniper, and many more. So don't limit yourself to degree program or diploma or any other certification provided by the higher learning education, but also equip yourself with the skills demand or needs by the industry. So with extra certification, I believe you will definitely increase your employment percentage or highly being employed, and indirectly, basically, we are preparing our country with skill-based workers or talent pool, and therefore will attract worldwide companies to invest in Malaysia. So for further details, you may contact the two named above, which is our Deputy Dean Academic, Associate Prof. IR Dr. Ahmad Farid Abidin. And also, this is for the questions related to engineering program available in our faculty, which is Faculty of Electrical Engineering, where basically currently we have two program which are electrical, Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering, and also Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics Engineering, which is in Shah Alam. We also have diploma engineering courses in the branches, and also we have another program, degree program in Penang, which is Electrical and Electronics Engineering program. So for further details on our engineering related program, you can contact our Deputy Dean Academic. And if you have problems or questions on the Cisco Academy, you can kindly contact President of Cisco Academy Malaysia, Associate Prof. Rohani Abdul Rahman, with the email provided, and also myself on any questions related to the certification regarding Cisco. So by this, I end my presentation. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, you can ask me the questions, or you can ask the questions through the message provided. Thank you again, and see you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Associate Professor and Senior Dr. Yusnani Muhammad Yussoff, for a very informative talk. So what we can say is, from the talk given, skills are very important for the current job landscape, especially now job is decreasing in demand, and also we have oversupply of potential workers, skilled workers. So this is where industry-based certification can be very important. It can be the key that provides you with the edge to secure a job and to perform well, of course, in your job later on. And then also we see that there are very Also, please submit your questions to be answered by the panel at the end of the session later. All right, and then for those asking for slides, okay, we'll be sharing a link to the slide later at the end of the program, and also for the training hours, we will also provide the link to register as attendance, and also all participants will be given e-Cert, okay, later as part of your participation in the webinar. So don't worry, we will provide those things at the end of the session later. Okay, so now we have about 90 participants who have answered the poll. Okay, please, for those who haven't answered the questions, please do so. We appreciate your opinions. Okay, and then we can share the result later. Okay, we have 2 more minutes to go for the polling sessions. For those who haven't answered the poll, please keep the answer coming. And then for those who have answered, thank you very much for your time to answer the poll. We will resume the session in about 1.5 minutes. Okay. You can take a break, maybe get some drinks, and then don't go away. We are going to start in 1 minute. Okay, just a few more seconds to go before the poll ends, and we are going to resume, okay, after the poll ended. Okay. So the poll has ended. I think you can see the result from the polling panel. Right. So for the educational background, we have 13 about 325 having certificates. 13 out of 325 having diploma. 33 is having degree, 36 masters, and also 18 PhD. And then there are 212 participants who haven't answered these questions. So in terms of subject of interest, I think programming and artificial intelligence leads the chart. Okay, and also networking. Okay, leading the interest with 50 response saying that networking is their area of interest, followed by programming, artificial intelligence, other areas, data analytics, and also cloud computing. And in terms of certificate of interest, about 36 respondents says that Cisco certification, they are seeking for Cisco certifications, followed by introduction to cybersecurity, I think. Cybersecurity, yes. And also IoT fundamentals. So there are a few more certificates of interest here, but I won't go further, okay? Because we are going to continue with our second speaker today. So next, let's welcome Mr. Muhammad Ameer Yuslan Razmi. Mr. Muhammad Ameer Yuslan Razmi is a network engineer and currently pursuing his career in an energy company. He has various skills within the networking domain, particularly in data, voice, and video. As a network engineer, he is responsible as a level 4 support engineer while leveraging his knowledge in automation to develop solutions to ease the team administration burden when it comes to the repetitive tasks. Ameer holds a BEng with honors in electrical engineering from University Technology Mara UiTM Malaysia in 2010, where he took computer engineering as his major. So he is one of our alumni. So today he will be sharing his personal experiences and tips, especially for students who are interested in pursuing your Cisco certification and career path in computer networking. Again, audience may write your questions at the chat box or YouTube comments to be discussed at the end of the program. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Muhammad Ameer Yuslan Razmi. Please welcome.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Fadhlan, our moderator for today, for the introductions about myself. So I hope you guys can hear me clearly. Right. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. So I look at the participants list and I saw a lot of familiar names. So it's always good to be connected back with everyone. Right. So my name is Ameer, and I feel really honored to be here, to be back, I'll say in a way, virtually back in UiTM. And thanks again to UiTM for hosting this very first Cisco-UiTM Centre webinar. So as a proud product of both UiTM and Cisco Academy, today I would like to share my personal takeaways when I was pursuing my careers in networking. Right, let's move on to the next slide. Right, so here's the agenda that what I'm going to share today. So let me start first with introducing about myself and do some sharing on my personal journey in networking careers. So after that, I'll be sharing more about some functional stuff. So what I mean by functional is something that you do to deliver your daily tasks as an associate in networking fields. We're going to talk about how to kickstart our journey in networking career, how to stay relevant in the industries, and what's coming up next, right? So before I end my presentations, I would like to also do some sharing on my own key personal behavior approach that I use in my daily working life. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. All right, so here is a little bit of information about myself. In the middle is my self-proclaimed marketing photo that I use everywhere over the internet. Right, so I hold a Bachelor of Engineering with honors in Electrical Engineering from UiTM Alam, and I am an alumni of UiTM and as well as in Cisco Academy. So I bring myself to date this year with 10 years of working experience, so mainly in network and cloud infrastructure. To zoom more on my own network experiences, so I have experience in routing and switching, voice, and as well as video, mainly in two big industries or sectors, which is banking and energy industries. So I will share more on this in my next slide. So I am a Cisco and Juniper certified. I am also an IT certified. So some of you might be curious what IT is all about. So if you do a quick Google search, you will find that IT stands for Information Technology Infrastructure Library, where it outlines the practices for IT service management to ensure that IT services is always aligned with the needs of business. So you will learn more about how to handle an incident if an incident happens, how you want to deal with the change management processes and such, right? The last piece of my self-introduction is just to keep my the human parts in my body. So in my free time, I will always enjoy to have a long motorcycle ride, so as well as doing some gardening. So I'm pretty sure that most of you should be really familiar with the term of IoT, is the Internet of Things. So the garden that I have, just to do a quick sharing with everyone, is an IoT-enabled garden. So where I have some sensors that help me to do some stuff like monitor the amount of water and fertilizer for each of the different trees that I have. I also do some monitoring of the amount of rains and monitor the soil moisture levels and some other stuff. Right, so that's very quick introduction about myself. Let's move on to my personal journey in my next slide. Okay, so before I share this personal journey, let me just briefly share with you how does my curiosity lead me to have a career in network. So I'm doing some throwback. So I'm in Gen Y. I was born in 1987, and I believe those people who in my similar age group should recall themselves what MIRC is all about, right? So we used to chatting using the applications. So I joined several channels back then, and I think in year 2001, where I came to realize that there are actually some people were staying idle in the chat room for like days or even months. So apologize for the background noise because I was working from home. All right. So a question that come to my mind when I saw these people, right? So how exactly this guy did it? So how does he turn on his PC all the time? So, and then next thing come to my mind is I really wonder how much his electricity bills or even his internet bills, right? So I did send a few messages to these targeted people, and this one person, I still remember his name is Faris. So he replied and tell me that he's using a thing called PSY BNC. So long story cut short, I own my very own personal PSI BNC, and at the age of 15, together with some other few curious friends, so we own our very first personal virtual private server and start to learn more about server and also network. So that's where I gained my interest in networking. Right. So now move on back to the slide. So before I started my professional career journey, so I owned my very first professional certificates, CCNA, during my degree program in UiTM via the 3P program. So that 3P program stands for Program Pertauliahan Professional. So I'm not too sure whether this program still exists, but maybe when I first started my career as a network engineer back in 2010, I chose routing and switching as my specialization at a point of time. So after 2 years in the industries, due to a scholarship bonding that I had, so I had to move to another corporations where I was tasked to take care of the voice and video infrastructure of the company. So this is when I took my CCNA voice, which is now is under the collaboration tracks. Right, so nothing much on the voice technology that time because the company are pretty much still using PAVX for the voice technology, but for the video infrastructure, so I do support Cisco Tenberg video conferencing solutions as well as the telepresence, which is the immersive version of video conferencing. Right. So in 2016, I further enhanced my career in a full suite of a collaboration solution where I was given an opportunity to also take care of a call center. So Cisco also have a product of a call center named UCCX, and as well as the instant messaging, so Cisco Present or Cisco Jabber as for the client, right? So not to forget about the call recording. And for example, whenever you call a call center, you always hear sounds coming, say that the call may be monitored for quality and training purposes. So, yeah, so I had a chance to manage that infrastructure as well, right? So I spent a couple of years in a collaboration specialization before I moved my career further into network automation back in 2017. So with a background in hardware programming that I gained in my degree time, and I believe my lecturers inside this call, right? I've learned, I quickly adopt a new programming language, which is Python, which I use a lot until today, right? So the main idea for implementing a network automation is to automate as much as repetitive tasks or to perform self-healing when it comes to incidents. So imagine if you have an incident happening, the link is down whatsoever, so you can use automation to do the self-healing part, so you don't really need a human intervention to solve an incident, right? So there's a lot of reason as to why also companies moving toward this automation, and I believe automation is still a buzzword nowadays. But at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to get rid of CLI. CLI means a command line interface, where we only allow certain escalations engineers to have that privilege, right? So move on to my career. I embarked into another journey with Agile methodology framework also. So one of the components that suits that methodology is DevOps. So it's exactly similar to network automation, where it sits under the big umbrella of a network programmability. It's just that we apply that methodology to deliver our product. So look at Facebook. So Facebook, when they start to embark into this, look how fast they can improve the Facebook product. You can compare to where Facebook has started until where they are right now, right? Right. So let's move on to the next slide, where I will be sharing more about the functional stuff. All right. So again, let me reiterate what I mean by functional. So function is something that you do to deliver your daily tasks as an associate in a networking field. So some of the contents that I'll be sharing today will be reiterate on what Dr. Yusnani has shared earlier. Right. So assuming that you are freshly graduate or in the very early career stage as a network engineer, you might be wondering how exactly you want to start your journey, right? So from my very honest opinion, the first thing that you need to do is to have a very strong foundation knowledge in networking. So Cisco Academy has a very good syllabus that helps you to attain that foundation knowledge. Right. So if you would like to know more about the program, I believe Dr. Yusnani has shared the contact earlier. You can go ahead and contact those individual, or you may also post in the chat, and I believe someone will be reaching out to you. Okay. So the next is about the try everything. So in networking world, there are so many specializations such as routing and switching, wireless, cybersecurity, collaborations, DevOps, and others. Go ahead and try everything. The main reason is to get a good grasp and a good understanding of all of these specializations. So if you are not sure on the details, what I always do, or consider this is my tips, is always look up at the Cisco Certifications Tracks webpage. It should outline all the programs available to meet your career aspirations. So do not worry about the links for the webpage, because I have a slides that will outline all the links that I will be sharing today. Okay. So once you're already in that journey, it's the time to keep yourself relevant in the industries. So why we need to keep ourselves always relevant? So we all know that the technology evolves very quickly nowadays, but we all know that we are not getting younger by days, right? So before we go into the details, let me just quickly ask a question. So how many of us knows that we can actually extend a layer 2 network over a layer 3 network, right? So in other words, how many of us know that we can extend our VLAN across a layer 3 network? So back then, when I was attending the Cisco Academy program, it clearly stated that there is a broadcast domain within each of the layer 2 segments. So there is no way for you to extend that VLAN over a layer 3 network. But consider this as a limitation. The industry has now solved this by introducing a technology called VXLAN. So one of the example of use case of VXLAN, let's say I have 2 data centers sitting in different countries, for example, Malaysia and Singapore. So if I need to break down my data center in Malaysia, probably for some planned maintenance or we have a disaster, I need to fail over my IT services to Singapore. So I can actually lessen the effort of the failover because I can remain my IP addressing scheme in Singapore. So all the servers does not need to change their IP addresses. Because why? Because we have the same VLAN setup in Singapore. So that's really the beauty of having a VXLAN in our environment. Okay. So that's a very quick sharing on the technology trends, how fast the technology move nowadays, right? So let's get more into the details. Right. So the first thing that you could do to stay relevant is to read. What I mean by read is to read a lot, right? So for a starter, you can subscribe to Cisco newsletter, where you will receive a periodic updates on Cisco solutions. So do ensure that once you subscribe to it, do not just click on the mark read button or move it to the bins. So do invest some of your time to read the articles. So other than that, from time to time, Cisco will send you an invitations to a webinar, be it free or paid webinar, on various technologies depending on your interest. So do invest your time to tune into the webinar like this webinar that we have right now. So I'm very sure that it will be really insightful for you. So in case you don't have time to access those webinar live, I believe Cisco, in the Cisco website, they should have a recording that is available. Right. So next, if you have a social media account, probably Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, do follow some leaders in industry. For example, Chuck Robbins, the CEO of Cisco, Rami Rahim, the CEO of Juniper. Right. I know this session is just for a record. So I had a chance to have a 4 eyes discussions with Rami, the CEO of Juniper, at the end of the last year in Las Vegas. To directly hear from him about his vision in future of networking. So I would say that it was really a great experience that that I couldn't get anywhere, right? To get that first-hand learning from an industry leader like him, right? So do also check out some research companies that do research on the future of networking, such as Gartner. So I've seen some report out from Gartner that outline what are the key technologies in a couple of years ahead, what are the market demands, and also do check out their magic quadrant so that we know exactly which solutions are leading in any of networking specialization. So with that research, you should know how you want to progress further in your career to always stay relevant. Okay. So the next is about practice, or we call it sometimes as labbing. I think Dr. Yusnani has also shared earlier. So what I mean here is to have the hands-on experience on those new technologies. So Cisco has this thing called Cisco D-Cloud, where I usually use this to test out their new technologies, to conduct trainings, or maybe to do some self-improvement. So, but the setup is pretty much pre-built and might or might not fit your requirements. So if that happens, you also might want to consider to do some investment in building your own labs, or having your lab over cloud providers like AWS, Azure, or even Google. So as for the lab emulator, you probably can use GNS3 or EVE-NG to emulate that lab equipment. Right. So the next in line is about T-shaped skills. So T-shape is actually an agile term where even as a network engineer, we also need to grow our skills in other job family within infrastructure knowledge. Such as knowing servers, be it Windows or Linux, storage, database, and others, right? So do remember that all of this job family requires the network to transmit their data over. So this is how much important about being a network engineer, because you'll always be in the call when there is an incident happen. You will be always involved in all of their new implementation and such. So it's always good to have a deep understanding, or at least a surface understanding of how those technology work, so that you can better support them, be it for operational purposes or engineering purposes. Okay, So the next is like about certifications. So as what Dr. Yusnani has shared earlier, some companies prefer that their potential candidates to have a professional certificate. Why? Because they do have a trust in the curriculum where you should be proficient enough to carry out the duty as outlined in the job description when you are certified. So beside that, it's always good to benchmark yourself so that you know how proficient you are in that particular technologies. So I would like to also take this opportunity to also share some of the tips that I used when I took my certifications back then, right? So if you do have an extra budget, you may subscribe to any of the bootcamp or professional training, or maybe if you are attached to any of the corporation, perhaps you can try and seek a sponsorship from the company for you to attend that training. So the training usually is around 5 days. I know it's really hard to obtain all the knowledge in that very short period of time, but you can always go back and practice and read the material over and over again, right? My really advice is to go and seek the examination as soon as possible. Do not wait, right? So on the examination day, do read the questions few times if English is not your mother tongue language. So because when I was seated for the exam, I always feel that sometimes I get confused, not because I don't understand the technology, but I have a lack of understanding the language used in the question. So do invest some of your time, take your time to really go and understand the questions, right? Before I forget, do not forget to get familiar yourself with the testing suits. So before you start the examination, so Pearson VUE will give a short tutorial on how to navigate their testing suits. So do not skip those because the time will not be counted. So take your time, get familiar yourself with that testing suit before you start the exam. Okay. So what's next? In my opinion, you will always have two ways to climb up the career journey, either in technical roles or manager roles. So do remember that you are the one who owns your career, right? Not your manager, not even your co-workers. So if you decide to move to a manager role, right, do talk to your manager or supervisors or some other prominent managers in the industries. They should be able to advise you on what you should do to prepare to further your desired career goals, right? So it also applies to the technical roles, right? Do connect with other people who are already in that particular role, right? Right, so let's move on to my last slide. I will share more about my key personal behavioral approach. Okay, so I always hold this four approach. I know that there's some other behavioral approach that is always good for everyone. But these are the four main approach that I always apply in my daily life, right? So the first one is about people networking. So my advice or my tips to you is to come up from your own comfort zone. So go out there and broaden your network by connecting to other people who share a similar passion as yours, right? So there are so many platforms such as social media, get connected with everyone over LinkedIn, for example, or you could also join some meetup sessions. So in that session, do not forget to share your opinion or hear their thoughts. So because I always believe that the more you share, the more you gain, right? So apart from that, it's always good to also improve your communication skills, right? So how you want to improve your communication skills? So be it attending some courses or get involved in some meetup session. You could also join a club. I think nowadays one of the most famous club such as Toastmasters. So go and get involved. I believe it's a great avenue to improve and sharpen our communication skills. Right. So next is attention to details. So I like this statement a lot, which is to listen to understand, not just to reply. So this is actually a quote by Stephen Covey, one of the author of a book named 7 Habits of High Effective People. So my advice is to do listen well. So understand the message that wanted to be delivered by the other person when you are in a conversations, right? So you will realize that how that human thinking that is very unique, and I believe you can gain a lot of ideas and opinion that can be expressed when you are together, right? Sorry about that. So let's now talk about the self-improvement. So I have touched this a little bit in my previous slide. So what I want to stress out here is that everyone has their own comfort zone, or in other words, their own pace to achieve their career aspirations, right? So how fast you are, how slow you are, the main thing is to keep the momentum going, right? Do not ever stop. So do plan your career properly. So some people might want to get all the relevant knowledge first before they embark into the journey, or some people prefer to have specialize in one section and apply it in the industry and move to another one. So it's really up to you how you want to carve your own self-improvement. Okay, so last but not least, about time management. I always relate time management with my work-life balance. So everyone should have their own definition of work-life balance, right? Remember that your 24 hours daily is all yours, right? So some people prefer to work the usual working hours, 8 to 5 daily, and totally disconnect themselves from work afterwards. So we also have some people prefer to be flexible enough for themselves during that usual working hours, and continue improving themselves after work and only spend time with family only on weekends. So it really depends on you, right? So how you want to manage your time. So work-life balance is very, very, very important to you and your surroundings. So if you have a spouse or family, do reach out to them, talk to them, discuss with them on this topic. It will be very beneficial to you, not just to you, and as well as your surroundings, right? So it will also helps you to keep your emotion healthy, because I always believe that with healthy emotions, you can definitely deliver more quality functional works at the end of the day, right? So that's all about it that I have. Can you move to the next slide? Right, so these are the resources link that I shared earlier, outline the UiTM website, IT, Cisco Academy, the certification track, and others, right? So I hope you enjoyed this session. So again, I would like to express my gratitude to UiTM for having me here. It's good to always be back. And I believe we have a pause shortly, so do answer the calls. And if you have any question, feel free to type into the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer. So as for the resource, it might be hard for those people in the call to click on it, so I'll just paste it on the chat for the link. Right, so that's all I have. Back to you, Dr. Fadhlan. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Ameer. So what an interesting personal journey that he has shared with us. So how a person can grow career in computer networking especially, and then the functional tasks that he has performed throughout his job. It is very important to stay relevant. You need to read a lot, and of course, do not afraid to try something new, and then take courses for professional certifications. And also, he also shared with us the next course of career advancements. All right. Before we move to the Q&A session, we will have 5-minute breaks, which means we will have a poll session, another poll session for your feedback. So, like the first poll, you can access the poll from the polling panel, and also the link provided. For those who are following us through YouTube, you can scan the QR code to access the polling questions. Okay, so please take a break for 5 minutes and answer the poll. Thank you. Okay, we have 1 more minute to answer the poll. Please do not go away. We have Q&A session after this, and also we are going to share the link for attendance, and we are going to have group photo session later. Okay. Okay, so the poll has ended, but we are going to wait for WebEx to evaluate your submissions. Okay, you can access the result from the polling panel. We're still waiting for the result. Okay, so now we have the result of the poll. So from the poll, most of the participant answers their career preference is others, which is not listed in the options. And the second highest choice is actually computer programmer, followed by software engineer, web developer, network architect, database administrator, system analyst, and also hardware engineer. So there are 269 participants who haven't answered. Never mind, it's okay. So we value your opinions, and then I believe those who attend or participate in this webinar today, okay, really interested in career path as a engineer in computer networking. Alright, so now we have come to our Q&A sessions. I'm still waiting for the questions to be compiled. Okay, please give a bit of a time, okay, while the administrators are trying their best to compile all the questions that you have given earlier during the sessions. And then we will have the Q&A shortly. Okay, just please stay tuned. Okay, while waiting for the questions to appear on the screen. Right, so in WebEx, we have about 329 participants, which is a very high number. And I believe we have 100 more in following us through YouTube. So making the number is close to 500 participants. So we have a lot of participants today. Okay, hopefully this webinar can be very informative and everybody gets some knowledge from it, and we have two awesome panels sharing their experience. Of course, the focus is on the Cisco Academy and certification. All right, so now we have the Q&A session ready. All right, so I'm going to go through to the first questions. Question 1, what are the challenges working in networking related careers, especially for women? Okay, so I'm going to open two panels, either Dr. Yusnani or Mr. Ameer to answer this, right?
All right, I think I can answer the question number 1. So what are the challenges working in networking related careers, so especially for women? Honestly speaking, there are no difference between women and men when it comes to networking as to why I found in fact, throughout my career in networking, right, I always have a woman in my team. So we share the same workload, we share the same passions, and I don't find any challenges other than the ratio between women and men is like probably 8 to 2, right? So that's I would say that's the only challenge that we might face, right? So unless if you are married, you have some, then you got the opportunity to have a baby, right? So you might want to step back and not to do field work, but rather than just be in the office, do some other stuff that related to your job. So do speak out to your managers on how you want to progress your careers if you face that situations. Right. So I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, maybe I can add on a little bit. So based on my own experience as a test engineer working in the networking related field, I can there's no I mean there's a challenge, but it's acceptable. So we can still work in these related areas, and also as Ameer said, if you are get pregnant and so on, you can just request to work in the office and manage the network instead going to the line and so on. So there are challenges, but we can still move on and we can still work in this related area. That's all for question number 1.
Alright, okay. Thank you, Mr. Ameer and Dr. Yusnani for the answers. We go to question number 2. Can we take the exam at ASC FKE Shah Alam? Okay.
Okay. So basically exam, even myself also and Ameer, we take the exam at Pearson VUE. So we need to register online with Pearson VUE. We set the date and also we choose the place for us, the Pearson VUE location for us to sit for the exam. So we never conduct any, this one is for certification, for certificate, but for certificate of attendance, yes, you can get it from your UiTM. But for the real exam professional certificate, we need to take it from the Pearson VUE.
Alright. Okay. We go to question 3. Okay, this is a bit of longer questions. The Cisco Academy certification is certified by which government bodies or international associations? Second part of the questions is, are you targeting internal customers only? And how Cisco established the networking with the recruiters? Dr. Yus?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fadhlan. Okay, this is a very long question. So the first question is, thank you for the one who asked this question. The Cisco Academy certification is certified by which government bodies or international association? So what I can answer here is basically Cisco certification is an industry-based certification by Cisco itself. It is accepted globally by industries and also by the government sectors. So we have no list of, which government bodies accepted it or not, or any international association, but it is accepted globally, especially for those who are using Cisco product. For those who are using Cisco product, either government or industries, they will definitely demand for this Cisco certification. So are you targeting internal customers only? So I believe this question refers to Cisco Academy at FKE. So basically FKE Cisco Academy open to everybody, open to industries, open to government sectors, open to non-government sectors, and also to personnel who would like to join the Cisco Academy and to pursue their networking career and to take the certification. We offer courses like CCNA, and also ITN. Now we have SRWE and few more. And we are targeting every type of customers to join our Cisco Academy. The third one is how Cisco established the networking with the recruiters. Okay, this one actually I did share in my slide where we have this job talent, and when the students or the Cisco networking student, Cisco Academy student register in the Talent Bridge program, the Cisco have these tools, the matching tools that will match the students' skills, knowledge, and also certificate with the industry that also register in the Talent Bridge program. So they have their own tools that they use to match the students and also the recruiters. I hope I answer all this question, and also I hope it's, you accept this. Okay.
All right. Question number 4. CCNP and CCNA certification from Intan is still accepted in the market. I guess this is still accepted in the market or not. All right. Thank you.
Okay. CCNP, CCNA certification from Intan. Maybe the one who questioned this is from Intan or pursue the certification at Intan. So basically, Intan is just one place where they sit for the academic training and so on. But the certificate from Cisco is accepted anywhere in the market. So where you take it, it doesn't matter, as long as it is certified by Cisco, which is CCNP, CCNA, and other courses. So it will be accepted globally in the market. I hope I answered the question, Dr. Fadhlan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have our last question. This is maybe for Mr. Ameer. Okay, but it is not displayed here. I'm going to read. Okay, Mr. Ameer, if you can hear, what is the right combination of technical and non-technical skills needed for future jobs? Okay, I repeat the question again. What is the right combination of technical and non-technical skills needed for future jobs?
Okay, I saw the questions over the chat. So to answer the questions, I will go based on my experience. So what I always used to do is I will use the 50-50 rules. What I mean is I will find that balance between the technical and non-technical skills, where what I understand from the technical is the required skills that you need to deliver your functional jobs, whereas the non-technicals is how you want to sell yourself, how you want to represent yourself in the industries. So both are actually required. So that's why I've mentioned about that 50-50 rules. So in the current working world, if you don't know how to market yourself, despite of having a very good technical skills, you actually lose in the game, right? Because people don't know what you're actually doing. You're also wondering, right? You can go ahead and maybe walk around your office, right? Meet with the other guy in the corner. So you must be wondering what exactly that guy has been doing, right? If that guy doesn't share anything on what he's actually doing. So same goes to you. So do invest some of your time to build up your non-technical skills. So at least you are presentable, not just to the company, but as well in the market as well, right? So I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, Mr. Ameer, we have another question coming in. Okay, for you to answer. Just a bit.
Yeah.
All right. How much difference in salary if you have an industry certification? Very interesting.
Okay, so I do not know how to answer that question because I even not an employer myself, right? So anyway, throughout my experience, it might or might not be a factor, but it really depends on how well you can negotiate with your future employers. So during that interview sessions, go out and try to sell yourself as much as you can. Tell them you have this and that certifications, but I always believe that, as what I've shared earlier, some employers prefer their future employees to have that kind of certifications. But do remember that you are not the only one who has that certification. There are many other candidates. So how you can stand out yourself is other skills that you also need to develop. Right? Okay, I hope I answered that question.
All right. We have another question, but this is for Dr. Yusnani. Okay. Right. How does it differ from certified ethical hacker by EC Council compared to Cisco certified? How is it relevant in the future needs?
Okay, I can only answer this based on my own opinion because I don't have a specific technical difference on the EC Council and also the Cisco Academy. So basically, those certifications provide the skills and knowledge needed to become an ethical hackers, and also to protect your company, your network, and so on. But whether it is accepted or not in the future, I believe my second or my third slide shows that the demand in cybersecurity is there in the future. And by having those certifications, I believe you are preparing yourself with the industry demand in the cybersecurity and also in the ethical expertise, basically. I hope I answered the question because I can't give specific answer, the technical and so on, because it's not in my list, and also I never compared between it before this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Yusnani. I believe that will be the final question. So I hope all questions have been answered. But if you have any other questions, you may drop us your email and feedback in the attendance and feedback form. So thank you for all speakers and audience for your participations. Before we end our session, you may fill up your attendance and feedback from the link or scan the QR code that is being shown on the screen right now. E-certificates will be emailed to you after this webinar. Okay, so I would like to give maybe 5 minutes for everybody to just fill up the attendance and feedback form. Okay, before we end with photo session. So 5 minutes for everybody to fill the form. Okay. All right. While you are filling the form, okay, I would like to invite everyone to switch on your camera and smile because we are going to have group photo sessions. Okay, please switch on your camera and smile to the camera. Okay, so we can have our group photo sessions. In a bit, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Oh, sorry. What is Inshallah, we are going to have more session in the future. Okay, I will keep everybody posted. And just for now, that's will be the end. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.